I asked you guys to send me your high school DxD hot takes again, and this is part 2 to the last video I uploaded. So if your take wasn't in the last video, it'll be in this one. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get right into it. The next one is from Harem King, and it says the old art style is way better than the new, and Akano is the best girl. The old art style is better than the new one, of course I agree with that one. I don't know, there's something about the new art style that just doesn't appeal to my eyes. And a big part of it actually is their eyes. Their eyes look so weird in the new art style, plus I think it looks like way too cartoonish. I don't know what the word is. The old art style just looked smoother, it looked cleaner, it had better lighting. I just feel like everything about the old art style is better than the new one. But just talking about the art style, I definitely think the old one was better. And Akano being the best girl, I think you can argue that, especially with how she's like the best written girl in the series. So I guess I'll agree with that one too. The next one is from the Trampoline Trickster, and it says most of the fights come down to the power of friendship. And honestly, I don't really even know what the power of friendship is, so let's look it up. It says the power of friendship trope allows characters to exceed their limits and defeat their enemies no matter how unbeatable they're set up to be in the series. And I have no idea what that has to do with friendship, so I'm assuming that their friends are the ones that empower this or something. I'm gonna try to combine the two. And I guess using those two definitions, I guess I'll just have to disagree. I feel like most of the fights come down to Issei getting bailed out, especially in the anime. It's either him getting bailed out, it's a rage scene, or it's the power of perversion. Those are the only ways that Issei really ever wins. So I guess I'll have to disagree with that one, because I can't really think of too many fights that would be power of friendship. I guess the Sourwork fight, and it's really all I can think of right now. The next one is from Creed Made, and it says the dub is 10 times funnier than the sub. And that's not a hot take, that's just a fact. Again, I've made 3 videos on it, 2 videos comparing the dub and the sub, so I think it's pretty clear where I stand on this. The dub just has too many lines, fourth wall breaks, just good dialogue. It just works so much better when it comes to comedy in the dub than in the sub, so I definitely agree with that one. The next one is from Cloudy Kai, and it says, in Season 2, Volley should have actually gone through with killing Issei's parents. It would have been big for Issei's character, and his parents didn't do much anyways. It could have been cool writing-wise. And I have to disagree with this one. It just wouldn't make sense for Volley to do that, since he was just saying that so that he could get under Issei's skin. And I feel like that would kind of feel way too edgy. I don't think the series needs to be that edgy. The only character I think that they could have killed off and got away with is Asya. And that's because it not only would benefit Issei's character, but it will also benefit his relationship with other characters, since they all know Asya and they all love Asya. But Asya is the only character that would make sense for, so I disagree with that one. The next one is from First Last, and it says Gasper equals Bay. And Gasper, that's my dog, man. I actually do love how I went from hating Gasper because he was so annoying in Season 2 to him becoming a character that I actually really like. Just watching him mature as a character and as a fighter just made me like him so much more. So good on the writers for that. The next one is from Daniel Padarenga, and it says, I heard there were a lot of what if stories on DxD, but the kind of what if story I would like to hear is one where Issei was never resurrected by Rias and was only saved by Drake, and he helped him become stronger and stronger. And I'm not a big fan of what if stories, so I'll just leave that to everyone else to decide. I think in theory that could be an interesting story, but a lot of the what if stories just aren't ever executed well, and they're all pretty much the same thing. The next one is a question from Ian Plays, and it says, when is the ranking of every single character coming out? Now I'll just say this, if I ever give you a date for when a video is coming out, it's probably not coming out. I said that Issei video was going to come out like 3 months ago, and it's still not out. But that video specifically was going to come out once I finished rewatching the series, but I kind of have to restart the rewatch of the series because it's been way too long. I was only in the middle of Season 2, so I didn't even get that far. The next one is from, I can't tell if that's an L or an I, so I guess either Langa or Ianga. I definitely butchered that, I'm so sorry. But it says do a waifu tier list, and I've already done a waifu tier list, so just scroll down like 10 videos and you'll see it. The next one is from JJ, and it says the Loki fight shouldn't have happened as early as it did. He was way too strong, and now it's kind of wasted. Also, no homo but smash Azazel, and no homo but smash me. I think the Loki fight actually does kind of work in this situation, at least with the light novel's context, because like I said, it took like a whole army to take Loki down. But with the anime, I can kind of agree with that, since again, I just don't like how it only took Issei and Saji to take down Loki, I guess plus Mjolnir. There's just a lot more to be desired with Loki in the anime. But the light novel, I think they did it really well. So I'll disagree with that one, since the light novel did do Loki so good. And again, it did take so many people to take him down that Loki did end up looking strong. And then Smash Azazel, of course, and Smash me, sure, why not? The next one is from Fusion Rage, and they said, it should have been me. Is that a Dolph Ziggler reference or something? If that is, then I love you, because Dolph Ziggler is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. But if that isn't, then I'm sorry, this is kind of weird. The next one is from Peter Fan, and it says, oh, it's a video request. Oops. Top 10 best sacred gears, or video explaining about them. And I might make that video, I don't know. I'll have to wait and see. The next one is from the Dark Author, and it says, I prefer Akino's character and how we saw it develop in the anime compared to Ria's. One of my buddies read the light novel and said that he says Ria's is far better developed there, which is actually interesting because I've heard that Akino is better in the light novel too. I actually heard that Ria's is worse in the light novel than in the anime, but I'll agree with this one. I think Akino is a better written character than Ria's, and I think as a character overall she is better than Ria's. But where I think Ria's has Akino beat is with her consistency and with her importance in the show. Ria's does way more than Akino, and she's a leader for the team, so she comes off as more important. And we just get to see her with Issei way more than we get to see Akino with Issei. But that's just for the anime, so I guess I'll agree with that one in terms of the anime part. The next one is from Sky, and it says, DxD is only super popular among the fans because the flashy fights and of course the fan service. And I'll half agree, half disagree. I don't think any of the DxD fights are flashy at all. I actually think one of the lower parts of DxD is their fights. I mean, none of them really stick out when compared to like other shonen fights. They're good for like harem fights, but they're not like super great fights. The only fights that I would consider good is like the Cyborg fight, because they're actually fighting. Most of the DxD fights are them just talking and then throwing punches and then talking. So saying that it's only popular because of flashy fights doesn't really make sense. But obviously it did get popular because of their fan service, so that part is true. The story really isn't all that great or groundbreaking. It's mediocre because it's a Job Hunter series. I definitely don't think the story is like super amazing, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that either. Just because your story isn't like super complex or super crazy with twists and turns doesn't mean that it's not good. And I guess if you compare it to like other anime, like in general, I guess you could call it a mediocre story. And High School DxD's strong point has never really been its story. Their strong point has always been characters, world building, relationship building, emotion, and comedy. So I guess the story is kind of mediocre compared to other anime, but like you said, it does work for its genre, and it specializes in other aspects, so they're still able to make it work. So I guess I'll actually disagree with you on that one, because I do think it's a little bit better than mediocre. I would consider the High School DxD story to be good. And the last one said, High School DxD isn't meant to be taken seriously. The fan service during those moments in Issei makes the series have a tone dissonance, and it would have been better if the series was full-on comedic. I kind of disagree with this one, because most of the serious scenes, or the really serious scenes, don't have fan service and don't really have Issei talking in them. Like the Rey Nair fight, for example, that's supposed to be a really serious scene or a serious fight, and there's not really too much fan service going on there besides for Rey Nair's outfit. But she's dressed like that for the entire series, so I wouldn't really call it a fan service moment. But a moment like that, where you have everyone being serious, you know, Issei thinks Asuya is dead, Issei still feeling guilty even after Rey Nair is dead, like all that still works really well. The Juggernaut Drive scene, Issei's not talking too much in that scene. There's no fan service in that scene. I mean, I guess there is in like the canon Juggernaut Drive scene. No one likes that one. But the anime Juggernaut Drive scene doesn't really have any clashes between the seriousness and the comedic tone. Same for the whole entire Cyborg fight. There's not really any fan service to mess up the tone. The fight with Volley, Issei gets mad that he threatens to kill his parents. And during that moment, you got like a whole 2 minutes of just Issei and Volley fighting. It's not until after Issei's already pretty much been defeated that they introduce the comedic element. The Riser raiding game ending, there's not too much fan service to distract you there. The Kiba sword project thing, Kiba unlocking balance breaker, completely serious moment, no fan service. It's not until the moment is over where Issei adds his funny commentary. So I definitely don't think there's really a big clash going on there. I mean, sometimes it definitely is happening, like the Kokobil fight. The canon Juggernaut Drive fight does have that problem, so it's not like the problem doesn't exist, but I just feel like the emotional scenes work way too well for the series to be full-on comedic. Because if the series went full-on comedic, then it would lose one of the best things it has, and that is the emotional moments. So I gotta disagree with that one. But I do see where you're coming from, because there are still times where the tone is off because of the dialogue and because of the fan service. But when the emotion hits, it hits hard. The next one is from Alex, and it says, Volley is kind of a better character than Issei. Saying this after reading ahead in light novels. I mean, I can't really say too much about the light novels, but I do think Volley has more potential as a character than Issei, because he does have like an interesting backstory, and he is just like an overall more interesting character than Issei, so I'm not really too surprised by that. But I guess we'll see once I get further into the light novel, so I just won't say anything. The second one is Kuroka is low-key mid. I actually kinda had this opinion, but I was just too scared to say it, so I'm glad you said it. I agree with this one. I don't really get the hype behind Kuroka. I mean, I get she looks good and she plays a big part in Konoko's story, plus she becomes part of Issei in his harem, but I just haven't been too interested in her so far. So I agree with that one. And then the last one says, Orphis in the anime was a mid character. They portrayed her as a god who represents infinity, chaos, and nothingness, but they haven't showed any of it yet. And I guess I'll agree with this one too. I just don't think it's Orphis' time yet. But I think Great Red is the one who suffers for this later, but we'll go into that later. But overall, I'll agree with that one. The next one is from Inferno Torch, and it says, you've made videos on this already, but I can't shake the fact that they really should have killed Asuya off. So much character development and story development was missed because of this. And even though this is a fan service anime, the one thing the show needs is a bit of tragedy and loss. And obviously I made a video about it, so I agree with it, but I think it can go both ways. I don't think killing her off is necessarily the right choice, and I don't think not killing her off is a wrong choice. I think either way you could have had something work. Like Asuya and Issei get closer, and Issei starts to see Asuya as a lover because of the Juggernaut drive and because of her dying. So I think we still got that out of it, but I do think that we missed more character development between the other characters, especially Issei and Zenovia. I think there was so much potential with those two if you would have killed Asuya off, and I think it would have put a little bit of seriousness in Issei, and it would have shown him that this devil thing is not a joke. So I agree with that one. The next one is from DJ Gaming, and it says, Season 5 is coming. DxD Jr. released. I actually have been hearing more Season 5 news. Like, I heard that like the creator said that all DxD projects are continuing, but I don't know if that was true or not. I saw a video on it, and I'll put the link to the video in the description so you can watch it too. But yeah, apparently Season 5 is supposed to be coming, or it's supposed to be working in development now. But I don't know. I don't really take that stuff too seriously. I'll believe it when I see it. The next one is from Supernatural, and it says, rating Issei's 8 wives. Oh, this is another video request. And sure, I can make that when I finish the light novel. The next one is from Creed Made, and it says, not even a hot take, but if you look past the boobs and ecchi scene, it's actually an enjoyable show. And yeah, this really isn't a hot take at this point. I think pretty much everyone knows this now. And again, that's the whole point of this channel, to show you that this is actually an enjoyable and good show. So yeah, obviously I agree with that one, and I think like everyone here would agree with you on that one. The next one is from Alan, and it says, Seraphol is the best girl. I was reading the replies and everyone's just saying that that's debatable. But yeah, I definitely disagree with that one. I don't think she's done enough. I don't think she gets enough screen time. But I mean, if that's your opinion, you might as well have it, you know, why not? It's hard to have a hot take about a best girl, since that's like just an opinion basically, and everyone has different tastes. So you know what, I actually will agree with you on that one. How about that? And we pretty much got like the same thing on this next one. The next one is from the Megatron Menace, and it says, Zenovia is the best girl. And I guess I'll also agree with that one. I like Zenovia. She's cool, she's funny. I love watching her fight. Zenovia is probably my favorite fighter behind Kiba, and she's just a beast. So I'll agree with that one. They also said there's not enough fan service. I disagree with that one. How much fan service do they need? High School DxD has a lot of fan service. Like, just it being like completely uncensored is kind of crazy. Like, you don't really see that a lot. So I think it has enough fan service. I think it actually has too much fan service, so I definitely disagree with that one. And then another one says, the queen can't remember her actual name because of how bland she is the worst girl. How do you want more fan service, but then you say that Akeno is bland and she's the worst girl? Those two kind of just don't go together. And I definitely disagree with that one. Akeno definitely isn't bland. She's actually the least bland girl. She has the best writing, and I would say she is the most interesting. Plus, she honestly probably has the best reason to like Issei. It's between her and Ria's, so she's definitely not the worst girl. The next one is from General Society, and it says, why did everyone let it off the hook that Azazel ordered Rainier to kill Issei? And I think they all let it off the hook because Azazel pretty much apologized for it, and he's already done so much for them that I don't think it really matters anymore. He trains them all. He's pretty much always there when they're fighting someone strong. I mean, Azazel was just so reliable to them that there's no reason for them to still hold that against him. Plus, it's not like he knew Issei or anything. It's not like he tried having Issei assassinated in like season 3 or something, or like 5 volumes in. It's not like he tried killing Issei then. This is literally before he even knew him, so I don't think it matters anymore. And also, if you actually remember, they actually were extremely suspicious of Azazel. Issei did not like Azazel at first. It wasn't until Azazel started helping them that he began to trust him. And it took Rias even longer, and it took Akeno way longer to accept Azazel. So it's not like this dude just came in and they're all like, oh, that's my dog, Azazel. No, it took him a while to gain their trust. It pretty much took Sir Zex forcing him to become their teacher for them to finally trust him. So I guess there's your answer. Next one is from Axiom, and it says, I tap Konako. and I can't agree with you on that one, buddy. The next one is from Vast Gods, and it says, Gasper, as being the character with a strong ability, gets treated more like a background character than a main side character. And this one I kinda do agree with. Out of all the members in Rias' peerage, I do think Gasper gets the least amount of attention and the least amount of screen time. Obviously, like other characters, he does have his moments, but they do seem to forget about him more than all the other characters. And when he's not the main focus of the series or of the arc, he usually is just in the background. So I agree with that one. The next one is from V Scorpio, and there's 5 of them. The first one says Issei should be less perverted, or rather he shouldn't want to use Gasper's powers to freeze girls in place. And I agree with this one, especially the stop powers thing. That is a really weird thing to want to do. And that's kind of one of the reasons why so many people don't like him. He kind of just does it to himself when he does stuff like that. But yeah, I agree that Issei should be less perverted. And like I said earlier, I do think he is becoming less perverted. But they need to keep that up. They need to make him to where he's at least at a tolerable level of perversion. So I agree with that one. The next one says we should have a new main female villain. Either they should want to unleash a mighty monster from whatever mythology, or like a Yandere who kidnapped Issei because she got an unhealthy obsession for him. And I do think it would be cool if they had another female villain. I mean, it's not like they don't have them, but I do think it'll be a nice change of scenery to get another female villain, especially one from another mythology. I think they really need to keep expanding on the mythologies. They need to hit everything. And I don't know about the Yandere idea. That one's kind of goofy, but I still agree with the overall take. They should have another female villain. The next one says Issei's classmates, mainly his 2 friends, along with Murayama and Katase, learns about the truth of Issei being a devil. I think it would be cool for Matsuda and Motohama to learn it. And I remember back in the day, I had this weird fanfic in my mind where Matsuda and Motohama become fallen angels, and so they have to go against Issei. So yeah, I do think that would be cool. I don't think that Murayama and Katase need to learn that. I think they're better off just doing what they do right now. Just stay in the back, throwing jabs at Issei. The 4th one says we need to see more of Matsuda and his girlfriend. And I mean, I disagree with this one. I don't think it matters. I really don't think that his friends need development or we need to learn about his friends. Honestly, we could have gone the whole series without knowing this dude had a girlfriend and nothing would have changed. She definitely doesn't need a personality, and it doesn't matter whether we see her or not. Kind of like with Murayama and Katase, these characters kind of just need to stay off to the side as like comedic relief. Characters that we don't need to take seriously, characters that we don't really need to care about too much. They should just stay in that ballpark over there, because we already have enough characters over here. And then the 5th one goes into a character that I haven't seen yet. And then the last one says Kara Warner is hotter than Rainier. And this one I'll disagree with. Kara Warner is pretty trash, and I don't really care about her, to be honest. And the last one, we finally made it to the end, is from Hamashiro. And there are some here for the anime and some for the light novel, but I'm not going to do the light novel ones. But the first one says High School DxD's world building might be top 10. And I don't know about top 10. You gotta think, there's a lot of anime out there. But High School DxD does have some pretty cool world building. It has a very interesting world. I think if they would explore the angels and really the fallen angels more, then I could probably give you like a definite yes. But I think just because the angels are so like forgotten about and the fallen angels are just so like weak, that I wouldn't really call it top 10, but I do think it does have good world building, so I will still agree with you on this one. Next one says it has the 2nd funniest dub in history behind Ghost Stories, and I agree with that one. The Ghost Stories dub really is generational. That's so good. And again, like I said in my dub video, it gets away with completely changing the script because the original Ghost Stories is awful, but just watching it dubbed and thinking about what's happening, nothing really makes sense. And then with High School DxD, I've already talked about why the dub is good and why I like it so much, so I agree with that one, of course. And then the 3rd one says Volley has one of the best introductions in the show, and I agree with you. I know I said Rainier earlier, but when I thought about it, I actually do think Volley has the best introduction in the show. Coming in mid-fight to save Issei, or accidentally save Issei, was just so cold, and the fact that he was able to beat Kokubil so easy when the entire Grimmery group couldn't beat him just made the moment so much better, and it just added so much to Volley as a character. It made him so cool, so I'll agree with that one for sure. And then at the bottom, there's just some like what if fights, and they would just like my input on some of them, so I guess I'll give them. Orpheus vs Great Red, I actually have no clue who would win that. I feel like that would just go on forever. It is kind of hard to say since they're both like built up as the strongest characters in the beginning of the series. I would say Great Red was built up as stronger, but at the same time, Great Red was done kind of dirty in the light novel. So we're basically just comparing auras at this point, and I'll just go with Great Red's aura since I think he looks cooler. The next one is Issei vs Volley end of series rematch, and Issei I think would definitely win that, but I do think Volley should win that fight. I think it makes more sense for Volley to win the fight. I mean, Volley's been training for this his entire life, and I feel like Volley wants it more than Issei wants it. I don't think Issei really gains too much out of beating Volley. While on the other hand, if Volley were to beat Issei at the end of the series, that would give him a lot more aura and a lot more prestige to his character. So I think it just makes more sense to go with Volley, but they're definitely going to go with Issei, and Issei would definitely beat Volley. Azazel versus Volley, Volley would probably whoop Azazel. I don't even think it would be close. I think Volley would crush Azazel. Azazel's really just smarter than Volley, that's about it. And then Issei versus Azazel under the teacher versus student context. I mean, I guess under that context, I could see Azazel beating Issei, kind of like how Kiba beats Issei when they train with each other. But I think if they were to go at each other all out, Issei would win. Yeah, thank you for the versus battles. Those are pretty interesting. I do kind of want to do versus battles on my channel. That was also requested, so that might be a thing coming soon. And then the last ones are actually not hot takes. They're from Mr. Westcott and from Tsunami Simon, and they both just say stuff about season 5. One says, wishing for a season 5 someday or for far future. I think we all are. Apparently it's coming soon, but we'll see. And then the other one says, hopefully season 5 has 2 parts. And honestly, I wouldn't even mind. Let's go ahead and make season 5 2 parts. Why not? And yeah, that's all the hot takes for today. Thank you all for submitting hot takes. We got a lot. This ended up being a very long video. 56 minutes and 42 seconds. But yeah, my next video will probably be either the volume 8 review or it'll be some random goofy video. I'll have to wait and see. So you can look forward to that, I guess. But this video is really long, so I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.